Welcome to the third class of our flower painting course. And today we get to paint sunflower field. So today we're going to learn how to create depth in our painting. And I think you're going to end up with a beautiful, beautiful painting. So let's dive in. So to start, we're going to use our painting process of first toning the canvas. I'm going to take my medium cup, dip my brush, swirl around on our palette, and we're gonna tone with yellow ochre today. So we put just a little bit of yellow ochre in the medium, and then I'm using 8x10 panel from our supply list, and I'm going with both sides. I'm putting brush flat on the canvas. I'm using both sides. We have just a little bit of pink from previous class coming through, but that's good. Just go in all the sides. So all we're doing is toning, toning, toning. And then the next step will be taking the excess out. So right now I'm going to take the excess off by just taking a paper towel and just taking gently, gently, gently the excess paint off and the excess medium off. And we have a toned canvas. The next thing we're going to do grading. So I'm going to take my brush. I'm going to take my thinned out yellow ochre, or maybe even a little bit of burnt sienna. I think burnt sienna will do. And I'm going to go from corner to corner. Just do the best that you can, and then we're gonna grid it just like masters into 9 parts. And this will help us to take what we see on the photo and put it on the canvas in better proportions. At this step, make sure that you have our reference photo on the screen, on your iPad, on your phone, or printed in color. And also you can have, for the ease of it, have it printed in black and white as well. So right now, the first step that we're going to do is put in sunflower centers where we see them. And you do not have to copy what you see exactly. You can even put less or more sunflowers than you would like. So the first step will be, I like to do sunflower centers as purple. So we're going to take a little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of our cool red, which is quinacridone rose, and we're going to mix it up with the tip of our brush. And wherever I see the centers of flowers, I am going to put them in. So I see some in this square. And please notice that the sunflowers closer to us have bigger centers. Things appear bigger. So then we have this wilted sunflower here. And don't be shy with paint. Put more paint than you think that we need. If you run out, put more ultramarine blue and more quinacridone rose. And we just keep going. So I'm not going to be putting in every single sunflower, but I will put most of them in. So I see big sunflower here, big sunflower here. We're only putting the centers in. So we continue to put our sunflowers in, and sunflowers close to us appear bigger, like I mentioned before, and that's one of the ways how we're going to portray the depth in our field. And then the further in the field we go, I'm just putting more ultramarine blue, more quinacridone rose, mixing them up with the end of my brush. And I'm going to put one sunflower in here. So what I'm doing, I'm using the side of my brush and then coloring it in with just the tip. So all the sunflowers go in. All the sunflowers go in. And then at the end of the field, the further we go out, the sunflowers become small, just like little dots. The centers are small. And again, you do not have to copy exactly what you see. Now that we're done with the centers of sunflowers, I'm going to put in the sky and the dark green for where our leaves will be. So to wash off the color mixture of the centers of sunflowers, I'm going to take my walnut oil and I'm going to swish the paint in the oil. And don't worry that the oil is going to become all purple. And then I'm going to use my paper towel to dry it. If I cannot get a very clean brush, I can just switch the brush because we have 6 brushes in our kit. And then if you need to see how to wash the brushes out, you can go back to your introductory class where I show you how to use the brush cleaner to swish out the brushes and clean them. That's okay too. So you can just pause the video, clean the brush, and then come back to me. The next thing we're gonna do is mix the dark petals of the sunflowers. So we're gonna scoop 1 scoop of burnt sienna and 1 scoop of Hansa Yellow Deep. Equal parts, and we're gonna mix them up. And the mixture should look like this. There's no medium in here. And I'm gonna go to every flower center, just glance at my photo a little bit, and I'm going to paint in the darks of sunflower petals. Now we're gonna put in our sunflower petals as I see them in the photo. And the best way would be strokes from outward inward. And if you pick up any of the purple, don't worry, you can just wipe your brush off with a paper towel. So I just see that we have some petals here. I'm going to mix up some more burnt sienna and some more Hansa Yellow Deep. Okay, so this is a beautiful sunflower. And so I'm going to put the petals in from outer into in we go. And I know it doesn't look like much right now, but once we put the light on, once we're gonna put in the lights on, you're gonna be so happy with your painting. Okay, so, and I'm going to do this with every single sunflower center I see here. And I'm holding my brush flat. Flat. For the skinnier petals, I go sideways. So here I see skinnier petals, so I'm gonna go sideways with my brush. And I hold it sideways and apply the paint like this. And I'm applying pressure to make sure the paint gets off from the brush onto the canvas. we keep going, and do not worry if you miss the sunflower, or if you put too many sunflowers in your enthusiasm. And so applying pressure. Okay, now I'm gonna clean my brush with the paper towel and lay it down, and we're gonna move on to the sky. So the next thing we're gonna do, we're gonna put our sky in. So I'm gonna take, with my brush as a shovel, I'm gonna take some white. I'm gonna wipe my brush on the paper towel, and then I'm gonna scoop some, just a little bit of ultramarine blue and mix it in. And we also want to warm up the sky a little bit, so we're going to put just a little tad of our yellow ochre. So we don't want a green sky, but we want the sky to be warm. So I think I'm going to scoop a little more white and just a tad more of ultramarine blue. And we are going to thin this with a medium. So I just dip my brush in the medium and I swish my brush around, and we're going to put the sky with vertical strokes in. Now we're going to work on our sky with our mixture of titanium white, a little bit of ultramarine blue, and a little bit of our yellow ochre. So we're going to work in vertical strokes from top to bottom. Don't worry if some of the paint is uneven. We're going to come closer to the bottom. So I apply pressure and I do both sides. When I feel like I need more paint, I'm going to come for more paint. So I'm going to scoop more paint up. And it's actually the fact that the yellow ochre, our toned canvas, shows through, it's actually going to make the painting even more compelling. Okay, so I'm going to finish the sky. Maybe it looks a little greenish here, but there's a light actually here. So I'm going to carefully go around my sunflowers, and don't worry if some of the paint gets mixed in. It's no problem. But it's not a clear line. Some sunflowers are coming up against the horizon line in our picture. So I'm just trying to go over them as carefully as possible. And remember, we are not rendering this exactly as we see in the photo, but we're using our artistic expression. I'm going over my sunflowers. So now we're going to continue with our bottom portion of the painting. We're going to mix up dark green, and that's going to serve as our canvas on which we later are going to put light leaves. You will see it will all come together. So I have a fresh brush. I'm going to put my brush in a medium, just a little bit, swirl it around on the paper palette. I'm grabbing a little shovel load of my ultramarine blue. Then I'm going to grab a little bit of my Hansa Yellow Deep, just a little bit, to darken the painting. And to darken the green, I'm going to put in just a little bit of my burnt sienna. So this is our mix, and now we're going to apply around every sunflower. Okay, so now we're going to take our green mixture, and with vertical strokes, we're going to go around our sunflowers carefully. But don't worry, we're going to, if a little bit of yellow ochre shows through, that's totally fine. Just try to go in between the sunflower darks and fill the space, cover the canvas. So here's our mixture, and it doesn't have to be in any particular order. So going carefully around our sunflowers. Again, don't worry if you go over them. Just make sure to use vertical strokes. And take your time, don't stress, relax. This is going to be such a beautiful sunflower field. You know, that's the whole point, the joy of creating. We're trying to let go, we're trying to get in the zone. And if you feel like I'm going too fast, you can just pause the video and come back to me once you covered the whole area around our sunflowers. I ran out of my mixture, so I'm mixing a little bit more ultramarine blue, a little bit more Hansa Yellow Deep, and just a tad of our burnt sienna to darken the mixture. I think this is good. What do you think? So next we're gonna put lights on our sunflowers. First step is to mix up the color. The color is going to be Hansa Yellow, simple Hansa Yellow, little scoop of that. How did this green get in there? So we're doing a little of Hansa Yellow and a little bit of Hansa Yellow Deep. So we're mixing our two yellows, and we're gonna be putting, and maybe a little bit of Naples yellow. Yes, so this is our mix. So we're mixing three colors: Hansa Yellow Deep, then we're mixing Hansa Yellow and Naples Yellow. We have our three lights, no white, just our yellows. And we're going to apply our bright lights over our dark petals. So we're going to paint this wet into wet, and we're going to start on the outside, going towards the center, using the side of our brush so that the petals are thin. And it's like a swooping effect. You can curve where you see that the petals curve. Pick up more paint, and if you see that you picked up some of the outside colors, you can simply wipe your brush off with the paper towel. First sunflower done. And if you picked up too much paint, the same. And we're just going, and this principle is called light over dark. So we're just putting dark first, as we did, and then we follow up with lights. We also have to pay attention to the direction of the petals. these petals go over the center of the sunflower. So we're gonna start here and gently, 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 gently to the side of the brush still. And then so wherever you see that we maybe left off some canvas not covered by our green or by our sky color, you can just make the sunflower just a little bigger and put in the lights. Although the sunflowers closer to the skyline and closer to the horizon, they should be smaller to give us the illusion of depth in the painting. Notice that some of the sunflowers in our image have different shades of yellow in them. So because we are painting a simplified version, I'm not gonna cover the whole circle with our bright yellow. I might leave just a little bit of yellow on the tips, just to give it a more natural feel. We're going to move on to painting leaves for our sunflowers. And remember, these are going to be impressionist leaves, so we are not going to copy every leaf we see on the photo. For this one, we're going to go into the lights. So I'm going to take some of the Hansa yellow and some of my ultramarine blue. I'm going to get a vibrant, beautiful color. And now we're going to go into our greens and bravely paint the stems and the leaves. So now I will put in some random stems and we'll do some leaves. I also see that the color is just a little bit dull, and I think I'm going to go back to the palette and mix in a little bit of Naples yellow into my mixture. Yes, that's good. So we will continue with random stems. It doesn't have to be a straight line, just a few stems. And we're going to put in leaves. So to make the shape of the leaves, I'm drawing the outline first and then I'm filling it in. So another outline. I'm going to get more paint because leaves require thick paint application. And then I'm just going around looking at my reference picture and putting the leaves where I see them, where I think that they would be most effective for the painting. Just remember that leaves do not have to be perfect. We can clean them up later. We just using our brush with loose brush strokes. So I'm using the side of my brush to make skinnier strokes, just like a flick up, gentle flick up. And here I'm putting in some finer details to make the field look more full, natural, and just so that the painting flows together. So I don't really like this stem over here, so I'm going to clean up my brush with a paper towel, and I'm going to go back to my darker green mixture to paint over the thick stem and to clean it up. I'm going to go over with my brush and add in some last minute details, but if you are satisfied with how your painting looks, you can stop here and take a breather. So this is how my finished painting looks. At this point, you should be proud of yourself that you tried, and I think you will love your painting because who doesn't love sunflowers? Do not forget to sign your painting on the back, or if you would like to finish the painting on the front, refer to the first lesson where we painted our lilacs, where I'm showing you how to sign your painting on the front.